What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another live stream with Nebraskan Gooner. Making sure this is all up and loaded properly. And then we will look at the charting questions here. All right, welcome. Brought to you by Crypto.com. Thank you, Crypto.com, for sponsoring free content for all my followers. I do use the app. I do use the credit card. They don't force me to use it, so it's pretty cool, though. If you want to check it out or whatever, you can sign up on the app below. But let's get into the content. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Let me get the chat pulled up here. I was just, monitoring my positions this morning. It looks like the market's bouncing a little bit, so keep an eye on my stock shorts here. But anyway, so I actually get a lot of questions in my DMs about like charting questions, and people are like embarrassed to post them in the comments. And a lot of times I don't respond to DMs because too many times I'll respond to like 3 or 4 or 5 DMs, and then I get like a million messages from these people for like days and weeks after, and people just blow up my DMs, and then I just can't even keep track of them anymore. So a lot of times I like to answer them in public in the comments. So you'll see me answer tons of questions in the replies. So if you ever have questions, feel free to ask them in the replies, you guys. All right. Nobody's going to laugh at you. Don't feel embarrassed. If anybody, starts smack talking you or whatever, I'll just block them, and then they won't be around anymore, because we don't like that kind of environment around here. We like to encourage learning, right? This is a learning environment. We all had simple, dumb, whatever kind of questions you want to call them when we first started out. So, I've asked plenty of dumb questions before, and it's fine. So anyway, let's just start with numero uno. It looks like we've got a Paul here. Asks if the color of a single candle matters. Majority of the time it doesn't, but there are certain instances it does. Well, yes and no. Like, let's see if I can find an example on this Snapchat chart. All right. Hopefully you guys already sent me all your Bitcoin. Let's just go to the Bitcoin chart real quick. Okay. Oh, shit. Wrong button. So here's Bitcoin. I'm sure I can find an example on Bitcoin. And what I'm looking for is basically like a green shooting star or like a red, like here. Okay. Let me zoom in so you guys can all see. Okay. So if I double tap this, you guys see this little candle highlighted here, and I have to like go around it because these stupid cursors get in the way. But anyway, so here you can see this is a, Dragonfly Doji, and that's a reversal, but if it closes red, people are going to be like, oh, it closed red. It doesn't matter. Look at the candle for what it is. The only thing that's going to affect is your indicators, which if you're trading based on your indicators, it might make you trade a little bit differently than if you're just trading based on the chart that you see, right? So that's why we should rely on the chart, what we see in the chart, and not just what our indicators show us. Because maybe when this was green, you had a bullish divergence on RSI, and then when it turned red, RSI dropped and you lost your bullish divergence or something like that, right? So just be aware that like at the tops and bottoms, when you have these type of candles, it's more about the candle body than the actual pattern, okay? Or the actual color, sorry. Okay, let's see what else we got. That was a pretty simple one. Do I set limit orders or resistance or autofill? That's not really a charting question. That's more of like a trading question. Where do we actually draw support and resistance? How to draw support and resistance. So I do have a whole video series, or I do have a whole video on this, but the simple terms of drawing support and resistance, you guys, is just find a place, and it's really good to just eyeball it. Just find a place where price hits a lot and bounces, that's going to be support, and a place where resistance, or where price rejects a lot, is going to be resistance. So you can use zones, right? There's no right or wrong way. You can use zones. I would recommend staying away from diagonals if you're new, okay? Diagonals are more tough. If you don't have a set strategy, then diagonals can be a little bit confusing and misleading. So I'd recommend staying away from diagonals if you're just starting and just only do horizontals. And the thing is, when you're just starting, you think your trend lines are perfectly accurate, and they're not always going to be. But you can see here, look at this price. Like, this is a clear resistance, right? And if I just draw a straight line through there, you're going to see that it hits this point 3 times. Or maybe it just hit it twice. Why aren't you working now? There we go. So maybe it hits it once and twice, and then so you draw that, and then the third time you're like, oh, that's a resistance. Look, it just hit and rejected again, and it's dropping now, right? That's very basic, easy to understand, okay? And if you go over here, if you see this, look, it doesn't actually touch, just barely. So that's why I like to use zones a little bit and say, because I only use candle bodies to draw my trend lines, all right? Plenty of people use wicks, which is fine, but where would you put this? Where would you put that? Like, I wouldn't know where to put it. Maybe, like, if you're here, then that wick just touch. I don't know. I wouldn't know where to put it if I was doing wicks, but if I do candle bodies, you can see a pretty clear line here, something like that, right? Like right in there, okay? But if I do a zone, it's just way more clear. I can just be like, all right, well, we wicked into this area, and we wicked up here. So I'm just going to expect price to reject somewhere in this area. I don't know where. I'm not trying to be exact. I'm not trying to predict the exact, top. I just expect it to hit somewhere in this zone. And you can see how well that plays out. It rejects in this zone, okay? So I like these zones better because you just never know where it's going to go. If I'm drawing a support, it's the exact same thing. You can see that it clearly bounced here. This looks like a very nice support. And you can see here how we bounced on it twice again. So that is now a support, okay? Again, if I want to do a zone, I would probably start at the bottom of this wick, which coincides with these candle bodies. And I would probably go to the base of these bodies, and I turn it green for visual pleasure. Visual pleasure. I love giving you guys visual pleasure on my live streams. And here it is. Boom. We touched. You don't know where it's going to go. You don't know how low it's going to go. The problem is if you draw your trend line, like if you just do a trend line like this, okay, and you're waiting for it to hit that trend line, it hits once, but it doesn't hit again. So that's why I like to do those zones. Let's see. I'm reading your questions here. Do I trade Forex? No, I don't. I do stocks. Do I trade Forex on Bing Bong? Well, it's Bing X now, but no, I don't really use anything else on there, but I would use USDT if I used Bing X to trade those other things. But I just trade stocks and commodities on my stock account, which is TD Ameritrade or Charles Schwab. I don't know how to say it, but anyway. Somebody asked, support and resistance is not an exact science, correct? Yeah, exactly. Somebody also said, you mentioned major resistance are different. There's different intensities to support and resistance. Kind of, yeah. I wouldn't know if I'd say intensity, but yeah, like if you go to a monthly chart, a monthly support is going to have a stronger effect usually than a weekly, like a daily support or a 4-hour chart support or something. So you can see here, this EMA is a monthly support and it's hit 3 times now. So you expect it to be very strong. Like the first time it hit, you don't expect it to just break straight through that first time. Could it? Yes, but you just don't expect it to, okay? Especially on the first time. Just resistance and support in general. Like here, you can see this monthly resistance held very well and bounced, and then the second time we broke it. Now we hit it, we bounced, and now maybe the second or third time we hit this, we reject on, or we break through it as well. So we got to be watching out for that. So higher time frame support and resistances are likely going to be stronger than lower time frame. Not only that, another way to detect something that might be a stronger or a weaker support. Let me see if I can find it on the weekly. Let's see, maybe daily. Okay. So let's just zoom back here a little bit. Okay. So up here, we just have this straight green candle, right? No consolidation. It just goes straight up. So you don't expect this to be a very strong support on the way down. All right. On the way down, you don't expect to be very strong. So the first time it holds, second time, probably not going to hold. And you can see here, it barely missed my little zone there, and it broke through the second time. Okay. Now, this zone, you expect to be much stronger. So if I'm buying for like a hold, I'm not going to try to buy and hold very long in this zone because there was not that much support built. But if you look here, we built support here and we even had some large downside wicks initially in here. So from January 4th to February 6th, so about a whole month of support was built here. And you can see what happened when I carry this over. Look how well this support held, right? This support held because in the back, previously, we had a very nice support base built. So then here, we have another nice support base built. And you can see what happens over here is now it's acting as support again. Over here, we didn't really have much of support. It was dropping the whole time. It wasn't really going sideways. So that's why this held a little bit, though. Okay, hold on. Let me delete some of this. So you could... shoot. All right, so you can see here, this is... we went sideways here, so it kind of builds a support, but it's not... it just isn't as good of a looking pattern, I guess. I don't know. This just comes with experience, but this just is awkward. But anyway, you can see here, if you carry it over, we actually did hold this area for quite a while. We didn't just slice through it. And why was that? Because we built some support here. We had built this previous support, even if it was only for, it was for a month. We had built that support, so when we come back down to it, people are going to assume it's a support again, and they're going to start buying there. All right? So the longer sideways goes, so you can see here we're building some sideways area here. So in theory, whether we go up or down here, if we go up here, all right, we would assume that this would be a strong support, and we would continue up. If we go down here, we would assume this is a strong resistance, and we continue down because we've been going sideways here for such a long time that you're going to have you have a base built here, whatever it is, if it's a support or a resistance base, you have a lot of people buying or selling here. And now if price gets back there, you're going to have a lot of people underwater looking to get back out, or a lot of people looking to reshort that area because of the history it has. Please turn on the background. Please turn the background to light. Oh, on my charts. I thought you guys wanted my light on over here. I'll do gray. I don't know. Somebody wants the background lighter. I don't want to make it too light because some people don't like looking at white screen. I don't even know how to change the background, honestly. There we go. What if I do like that? Is that a little happy medium for everyone? For my streams? Can you guys see okay now? Let's see. So let me check more questions. Remember, you guys, this is charting and not trading. I'm not going to really talk about trading. I'm more just going to be talking about strictly charting and things that you're going to look for on a chart. We can go look back at the questions from yesteryear. Let's see. Hey, Gunnar, my analysis of SHIB has it going to the moon. Can you confirm? I don't like clicking these links, but we'll see if this guy's fishing me or not. Okay. So, SHIB one-day chart. Okay. We look at the SHIB one-day chart. Oh, wait. I'll have to look it up here because I don't have it saved probably. All right. SHIB. I assume that was Tether. All right. So, one-day chart. He had this big falling wedge, it looked like. So, yeah, sure. If this breaks out, you probably would go to the moon. Sure. I don't know if I would go to the moon, but if this breaks out, that would probably be a nice little breakout. But this is inherently a bearish pattern, and so it's more likely to break down through the low and then, drop deeper. So descending triangles more often are bearish patterns, just so you guys know. But no, thank you. That was a good question by third-year breakout from Jerry. So thank you. Swing trade basics, please. Please share some tips for beginners to start with charting. Tips for beginners to start with charting. Well, support and resistance is a really good one. I have a ton of videos on YouTube for beginner charting, honestly. But my basic thing would be to understand candlestick patterns, all right? Like you want to look for bullish candles or long lower wicks at support and long upper wicks at resistance, all right? That's the basics of it. Don't rely on your indicators. When I pull up a chart in the morning, I look at the price action. I see where price is at. I say, is this a support or a resistance? All right, and I make my zone and I go, okay, this is a support. Price is at a support right now. Okay. Price is at a support. Do I want to short here? Probably not, because price is at support. So I want to wait for support to break before I short. Okay. So that's literally what I'm going to do when I first open a chart. This is a 1-day chart. Price is at support. Doesn't mean it's going to hold as support, but that's what I see. So now I go to my indicators. All right. Well, how does OBV look? Not very good. It's kind of breaking down a little bit, right? So if OBV was just dropping heavy like this, I would be like, oh, crap. Price is probably going to follow, and price would probably follow. If OBV was pushing hard and price was still here, I would expect price to follow that and break out with it. So I can use my indicators to help me figure out what price is going to do based off what I see here, okay? But I'm not ever going to go to my indicators and be like, oh, this indicator's, doing this. I'm going to expect the price to do that, especially with RSI, because I know a lot of people use RSI. That's definitely not how it works with RSI, so you never want to do that. You always want to go and use your indicators to confirm what you think, okay? So what I would really do is if price was breaking out a little bit, all right, let's say price started to break out from support here, okay, because this is a support. If price started to push out of here and go up a little bit, I'd say, okay, how does OBV look? And if OBV is still flat or dropping, I would say, okay, I don't trust this move up. I can't long this. All right, I don't trust that this is going to go up. Buyers, price is moving up, but buyers aren't showing strength. But if price is starting to move up and I go, oh, this looks a little bullish, actually. I wonder, we could break out here. And then I'm going to go to my indicator, and if OBV is showing strength, I'm going to be like, okay, my price is showing strength. My indicator is showing strength. I think we're having strength here. I might buy this. Okay. So that's basically how I would do that for beginners. Just very simple. Just get rid of most of your indicators. Don't use a lot of trend lines. Just use support and resistance basics. Okay. Let's see what else we got. How to prioritize diagonals versus horizontals. Like I said, if you're new, do not use diagonals. You won't understand it. And a lot of times what happens is you'll use a diagonal. Okay, so let me just clear this shit out. All right. So a lot of times people use diagonal and they're like, oh, price broke out. Price broke out. I got to buy. It's going to keep going up. Okay. And what really happens is it pulls back. Or let's see this, it breaks out and then it pulls back and they're like, okay, I'm going to buy the retest. And it bounces a little bit and they're like, oh, this is good. This is great. And then it goes all the way back down here to their diagonal and then it bounces, right? And they get stopped out a million times over, or they're underwater big time and they panic sell down here, okay? So my recommendation, do not use diagonals. Unless you're seasoned, I love using diagonals, but I didn't start using them. I've only been using them, for like the last year or so. So I didn't just start out with them. Okay. Horizontals are 95% first, and diagonals. Yep, good advice. Okay. A priority of trend, volume, momentum, volatility, and other factors. Obviously, I don't trade if there's no volatility, so volatility helps for that. And if there's sideways choppy, you guys, like we're seeing on Bitcoin, okay? What do I usually use? Oh, I usually use Tether's chart. Sorry. Okay. If it's sideways and choppy like this, then don't look at candle bodies. That's one big mistake that people make, is even in this, yeah, that's a bullish engulfing candle, but it doesn't matter. We're just going sideways here. So I want to see a bullish engulfing candle at the bottom, like I see here. All right, after a move down, bullish engulfing candle, we move up. Now we've just been chopping for weeks now. Nothing matters in this area. Literally, you could have any crazy candlestick pattern you want here, and it's not going to be bullish or bearish. It's just literally chop. It's sideways. It doesn't matter. I see a lot of people get chopped up in sideways price action by relying on candlesticks. Only do it when price is moving fluently, okay? When price is going very sideways, the candlesticks really don't matter because it's just price. It's just sideways. The other thing, too, is don't use bullish candlesticks at resistance. And what I mean by that is, let's say, this is a bullish candle at support, right? These are, you know, shooting star dojis or like hammers or whatever you want to call them. Those are bullish at support. But when you get up to resistance, it actually could turn into a hanging man, okay? So a lot of people will be like, oh, that's a bullish candle. It's got a long lower wick. And it's like, no, that could actually be a hanging man. We could drop now, all right? So this is a good candle at support. If you see it up at resistance, you actually might be cautious and expect price to drop, okay? So understand where the candlestick is at. That's a really good tip for people to understand. I like volume a lot, all right? So I use volume as an indicator. And if price is going up, I want to see volume go up. So you can see here, price is going up, volumes, you know, kind of steady going up here. And then you can see that volume starts to drop off heavy. Okay. So if I'm long, I feel good about it until I see volume really starting to drop off and price is still at the same level. That's kind of a bearish divergence. That's a bearish divergence. Volume is dropping, price is going up. I'm going to be like, okay, I need to get out of this because price is probably going to fall now. And you can see what happened. And even here, look at this. Price was dropping here. Let me get my arrow. Price is dropping here. Okay. But look at the volume. Woo! Sellers are drying up. So price was dropping here, but there was no sellers. So that's why we bounced. And there was a little bit of buying, but overall, most of the buying was here. This was lower volume, and we didn't have enough momentum or strength from buyers to keep this going, and we dropped. And then now you see sellers really start to come in, and you see that seller strength, okay? But look at this. You get this really high volume candle down here. That's a very nice support hold, and that creates a local bottom. So high volume areas are going to be very important, you guys. All right, and you can see here just off the bat, where's the highest volume areas? Here and here. Okay, and what happened after those high volume areas? Those are the two highest volume areas on the chart that you can see right now. And look what happened. 20% move. 20% move after the high volume areas. So high volume is going to be very important. Make note of these high volume areas. Those are going to be important support and resistance levels as well. So you can see that this was a high volume area, and look what happened. It held as support. Now this is another high volume area, and look what happened. It held as support. So those high volume areas will come in handy if you look back on chart history. How do you know beforehand that sideways is going to happen? Well, you don't necessarily, but the volume is telling. And we really kind of just have low volume here for a while. But like, look at OBV, okay? OBV, I like to see it doing this. Let me just zoom this up. Okay, I like to see OBV, like look at this. This is a nice trend. This is more sideways. This is a nice trend. This is a decent trend. This is an okay trend. And now look what it's doing. It's literally just going sideways. Okay, so like these are the times when I don't trade, when I start to see the indicator just going sideways. And when my indicator is, you know, breaking down or breaking out, then I'm going to be looking for whatever direction that's going to find some trades in that direction. So that's basically how I do that. Sorry, guys, my eyes are dry today. Does high volume areas work on lower time frames? Yes, it does. I wouldn't necessarily like do like 1 minute charts or anything like that with the volume, because that can just kind of be unreliable. There's completely different strategies on low time frames, but overall, if you're using like 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, 4-hour chart, yes, the high volume areas are going to be very important. Okay. Hey Cobra, how's it going, buddy? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining me. All right, let me see. I'm going to see if I have any more questions from you guys, then I'll go back to the questions on the Twitter post. Just Me has a trading question. Save those for either on Twitter or on my trading live streams, please. Somebody asked about RSI divergence. I have a very, very good video that I just made. I'm pretty sure it's in my Being X series on YouTube, but it's about RSI strategies. It talks exactly about how to use divergences and find strong divergences. So make sure you check that out. I'm not going to explain that here because I already have that in another video. Awesome. So we're good here. Somebody said his eyes are bleeding. Jason, are you okay? Do you need a call help for you? His eyes are bleeding. Is it from me? From looking at me? Or is it from the charts? Do you guys like this gray, though? Is that, like, more in the middle for everyone? How to determine supply and demand zones. That's basically going to be support and resistance, honestly. When plotting horizontal RS levels, when area is considered a level, i.e. how many bounces. When plotting horizontal, when is an area considered a level, i.e. how many bounces? Well, it doesn't matter how many bounces. One bounce could be considered a support. But do note that the more times price bounces off a level, the more likely it's to break, right? So if we go to the Bitcoin weekly, let's go to the daily. Sorry. I apologize, you guys. I'm not giving you enough eye pleasure. Jason's eyes are bleeding. Okay. Actually, let's just go to 6K, okay, from years ago. Because you get that bouncing ball effect, and the more touches, the more likely it's going to break down. But not only that, the more strong the breakdown is going to be. If a trend line breaks that has a lot of touches, then the breakout or breakdown is going to be very strong, okay? And so when that happens, you don't get a retest. All right, maybe on low time frames, but like more than likely you're not going to get a retest because this has held for so long. As soon as it breaks, everyone's like, get out. Oh shit, sell, right? The taco waffle pattern fails and they all get wrecked. So you can see here though, this has 1 million touches. There's a touch there too. I didn't draw it all the way over. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 500,000, 875,000, 433, 2,991 million. 1 million touches there. And on the 1 millionth touch, it breaks. Okay. So on the 1 millionth touch there, it breaks and boom. All right. We're in shambles. But one piece of note is if there's no retest on something like this, a lot of times price comes back to that level rather quickly. And you can see here, price comes back to that level and it actually ends up being a fake out overall in the grand scheme of things because there was no retest. So when there's no retest, expect a fake out. Sweet chart, you guys. Look at this. So this is actually a koala in a very foggy storm. So it's actually a koala in a fog storm. I drew this last night and it took me like 5 hours. So I really wanted to share it to you guys. I was going to share it later. But yeah, so here you can see him. Please don't make fun of my art. I'm kind of self-conscious about it. But yeah, so that was the koala in a fog storm. So hopefully he finds his way home. Okay. We are back to the charting now that I shared with you guys. You can also purchase that from me for 50 ETH on OpenSea. It is an NFT. It's definitely probably going to be worth like way more than that in 5 years. So just buy it now and you'll be rich. Okay. So whenever you have these breakdowns with no retests, likely going to be a fake out. Okay. So just be aware of that on any time frame, any kind of breakout you have, no retest, probably a fake out. All right. Let's see. How reliable are diagonal support and resistances? If you just joined, make sure you watch the beginning of this on the replay because diagonals can be reliable if you know how to use them, but I wouldn't recommend them for beginners. What's the koala's name? He is adorable. I named him Ripple. All right. So during your beginner learning time, when you started, did you ever join paid course? I did join one paid course, and it was the worst paid group I'd ever been in, and I basically was just getting robbed of my money. Well, it was the only paid group I ever been in, but I basically just got robbed of my money. This guy would just like post that he was buying something, and then would just be like really vague and like, oh, like I sold at the top. He'd be like, oh, I bought this at $10, and then you're like, all right, I'm going to buy here. And then next day it's like down and he's like, oh, I just sold at $12 last night. And you're like, what the hell, dude? I'm like down 20%. So yeah, that was when I was really new and I was like trying to figure this stuff out. And the guy was just a marketer. So I definitely learned how these guys, on Twitter go about scamming and like making it seem like they make money and they know what they're doing. And they're making like $100,000 a month on their newsletter or, like whatever. And that's, these guys aren't buying a lot of these guys aren't buying fancy cars from trading. They're buying it from their newsletter or, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Um, he's Cobra said he refunded me for that though. Yeah, it was Cobra's group. No, I'm just kidding. But that's actually why I started a group in the beginning, and I made it only $20 to start to join initially. That's why I started a group though in 2019 or whatever, because I just was sick of all these fake groups from all these like bull market gurus. So I wanted people to like actually be able to learn in a place. But anyway, I don't have that group anymore. I left that just because I just don't have the time for it now, unfortunately. But I would say if you can find reputable paid content, that's great. But a lot of times you can find it for free. Or if you find like one or two people that you really get on with, pay for their content. All right. It doesn't have to be mine, but like, Mr. Anderson, True Crypto 28. I learned a lot from him. Like he's somebody I would probably pay for content from. Income Sharks, I would pay for his content. Okay. There's certain like Castillo Trading. He's also a really good trader. There's so many good traders that I would pay for their content because they actually know what they're doing and they teach you. Like if they're actually teaching you and showing you invalidation levels, showing you risk management, they actually know what they're doing and they actually trade. When you just have people posting a random stop loss, they don't tell you why it's there. They don't. There's no trading. Like you need to really do your research and make sure these people actually know how to trade. The longer somebody's been trading, probably more likely you should be following them. If somebody's been trading for like 3 months in a bull market and they're making money, they're probably going to lose it first off. But second off, they really don't know how to trade. And at some point when the market goes south, they're going to get wrecked. You're going to get wrecked from following them. And at some point, these guys are just making a ton of money off people buying their subscriptions, right? Or their newsletters or whatever. So when you see somebody charting, you want to see it consistent. Like my charting, consistent strategy. I'm mostly using on balance volume. I use Top Gun X, which is my custom indicator. I use support resistance levels. I mostly trade on low time frames. Like people know how I trade now because I'm very consistent with it. Some people, they're like, okay, Bitcoin's going to 500,000. We got this here. Look at this line. And then if you go like this, that's like an M, and M means moon. Woo! All right. And then if you go back here to this, all right, look at this, you guys. This is crazy. All right. So we've got this bars pattern here, and you're going to see this COVID dip, and it led to this. All right. So this is this, and this is that. And you see here, I mean, damn, that's oh, wait. Nope. Look at that. That is the same. Look at this. I mean, that is like the exact same pattern. So I'm pretty sure we're going to go to 200K, you guys. All right, this is the same. Oh, actually, it's here. This is where I meant to put it. This, you can see, now we're definitely going to 200K. This is a deviation. So I just need to draw this chart a little bit bigger, like this. Okay? And now, there. Now we're, oh, wow, this is even cooler because now we're going to 1 million. All right? And then they get like RSI involved and they're like, look at this indicator I just found on the internet and I've never used before. And I immediately understand how it works on all time frames in all situations, right? Like, dude, you guys don't know. You don't know. You didn't just learn this indicator. You're just trying to, engagement farm. So be careful you guys follow. Somebody said I'm good, but I'm an Arsenal fan. Hey, what's wrong with that? Top 4, baby. But yeah, so like, I just try to keep it realistic. I might not be the best trader. I really don't give a shit. I just want to keep it realistic for you guys and teach you guys the basics and how to maybe, like, even if you're not successful and making money, maybe you're not losing as much money because you're following me and I'm giving like good risk management tips. So Kingfisher liquidation map. I have no clue what that is, but I am a kingfisherman because I'm a dad. So we all have to be trained at, fishing. All right. So I just clicked another link and now I just got all of my money stolen. So we've got Algorand 4-hour chart on Binance. Let's check that out. All right, Algo, Tether is. All right, so 4-hour chart. Oh, look, here's my old trade that got stopped out a long ass time ago. Woohoo! See, here's a diagonal that didn't work out, you guys. It was actually up in a little bit of profit though. So we bought this retest. It went up and then it went down, and yeah, it was just bad news. We had tweezer top here. I could have gotten out. But anyway, so I got stopped out on that one. But let's go to 4-hour. 4-hour. All right, he posted a falling wedge, which let's see. I mean, once they've gone to this much. Okay, I think he used the wicks. Once these fall this far, like it's almost like don't even use it. This is such a long pattern now. Like I probably wouldn't even worry about it. But if I did, you know, you'd want to see a breakout basically. So you would want to look at indicators. My indicator is holding pretty well. What I'd like to see is my indicator going up and price going down. That would be great. It is going sideways, so that's not terrible. That is kind of a bullish divergence, okay? But I really want to see it going, and honestly, I use candle bodies, so I don't even use wicks, but there's nothing wrong with your trend lines. Those were good trend lines. Those are valid. Everyone has different strategies, and the most important thing is just having rules for your strategies, so you can't change things. Like, my biggest piece of advice from the stream I can say is start making rules that have like, you know, certain success rates. And what I mean by that is I know that if I get, like I have trend line rules when I draw trend lines, whether it's horizontal or diagonal, to where I can't cheat myself because of bias, right? So I draw them a certain way. And if I drew this here, this is actually valid. This is invalid. Okay. Let me see. This is invalid because I have 2 candle closes above my trend line. Now, if I move it out here, this becomes valid because I've got 1 close above, 1 close below, 1 close above, 1 close below. I don't have 2 closes above. So I could say, per my rules, this is a valid trend line. I can't move this to fit my bias down here and say we're breaking out because it would be invalidated. So I have an invalidation for this now. So you need rules to keep your bias away, because I could say, you know, a million times over, like, this is a fake out, but I could like move my trend line down, right? And try to lie and try to make up things and move it here and say, this is a nice big breakout, but I can't do that. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I mean, that looks like a falling wedge. You'd want to see it break out. That's as simple as that. You'd want to see a volume breakout. Okay. You wouldn't want to see a little weak breakout. And if this did break out, you know, for target pattern's sake, you would draw from the top to the bottom here, and you would go like this. That would be your breakout target, which lines up with my resistance level. So if this does break out, we would assume that we go somewhere close to 80 cents, okay? Are you am I still trading now despite the impending recession? Yeah, of course. I mean, I've been shorting the crap out of everything, honestly, which is great. I literally got my margin account for stocks approved like in December. But I did that on purpose because I didn't want to be over shorting these things when things were bullish, and then I waited, you know, till I felt like we were actually hitting some bearish territory on high time frames. Okay. What needs to happen in my book to consider a short? Well, this isn't really trading, but like, see, this would be an invalid resistance level per my TA because we have too many closes above. Again, that's per my rules. Your rules might be okay. I would have to move this resistance level up, or not have it, you know, I would have to make it more local, if that makes sense, because I can't have all these candle closes above my level. But here you see some bearish divergence. So, and we are at resistance, so maybe you would short there, okay? And that's on OBV. So yeah, maybe that would be that is some bearish divergence. Maybe you could consider a short there for sure. Okay, when to short and when to long on high time frame. I actually do have videos for this too. You guys need to go for trading content. I have a ton of it in my YouTube, either on the Prime XBT series, the Bing X series. I've got a ton of content there. You just got to go find it. There's a lot of trading there. Great, more scammers. I'm pretty sure that there's probably a scammer replying here. Yep, can't even see him. Okay. I know it's not possible in this video. Top Goon X, sure, I'll make more Top Goon X videos in the future. Again, short strategy, I probably have some videos on this, but this isn't really geared towards trading. It's more towards charting. Does a morning or evening star need 3 candles to confirm? Yeah, that's great. That's a great question. So a morning or an evening star. All right. Hopefully I can find one really quick, but if not, basically, let's see. I'll find one on the internet real quick. We'll do morning star because people like bullish stuff. Morning star. Okay. I do like shorting evening stars, though. Oh, whoops. Candlestick. Okay. So here, open image in new tab. Here we have a morning star doji. Okay. Now, technically for the stock market, it says you need to have a gap up or down. You don't get gaps in crypto, so don't worry about the gaps. Okay. But what you have here is a big red candle. Nice big red candle. You have a little doji, It's not always perfect like this. When it is, great. Sometimes it's got a little bit longer wick at the bottom, all right? But basically you have something like this, and then the next candle goes straight up. So what that's saying is sellers were here, sellers were halted immediately, and some indecision, and then we go back the other direction. Buyers step immediately back in and usually go up afterwards, okay? Now, sometimes you retest, sometimes you retest the base of this candle or like the base of this wick, the top of this wick for a good entry. And sometimes you don't, and you just keep going. So that's what a morning star looks like. An evening star literally is the opposite. You have a big green candle, doji, red candle, and then it's usually the bottom, or the top, I mean. So those are good indicators of tops and bottoms. It's definitely one of my favorite charting patterns. I would recommend looking for that. But you definitely need all three of these candles to close to confirm it, because what could happen here is this candle could look like this for the whole time, and then at the end, before it closes, it goes back down here and it's got a big upper wick, and then that's going to be probably bearish, and it's probably going to keep going down. So yes, you need to wait for candle closes before confirming patterns 100% of the time. Never, ever, like look at the Bitcoin weekly chart. All right, Bitcoin weekly chart. I'll check your questions here in a second, you guys. Like, look at this. This candle last week and the week before were huge green candles that looked really bullish. And by the time we closed literally back where we were the last few days, or last few weeks. So don't trust anything until it's closed, okay? Do I think it's worth holding off on investing hard into altcoins during the recession? I mean, I don't invest hard in altcoins ever, so that's not a good question for me. You know, when things are bullish, I'll definitely buy and hold an altcoin for a little bit, but they dump regularly, and I've been around long enough to know that I don't care how many fundamentals your favorite altcoin has, most of them still go down, right? ADA has been dropping for 7 months now, and everyone is mega bullish because smart contracts or something. And, you know, Dogecoin was 70 cents. I was trying to tell people that's probably a good profit-taking opportunity. And people are like, no, it's going to $1. Elon Musk won't let it drop down to 10 cents. And here we are. So, you know, if you've been around crypto long enough, you just don't, you know that it could pump 500% overnight, and you could know that it could dump 50% overnight. You know, you just don't ever take anything for granted. And when you have profits in this market, you know, it's good to consider at least taking some of them or taking your initial investment or something. So I don't really invest heavy in altcoins, especially when they're in downtrends. I like to catch them kind of mid-trend after they've already bottomed and start pumping, because it's quicker profits. Because if it goes straight up, like you want it to go, once you see a trend reversal, you want price to go straight up. And if it doesn't, then you get out. All right. Yeah, and somebody said their trading has improved so much just trading Bitcoin, because alts follow what Bitcoin does. Especially during times like this, when everything's choppy, altcoins are literally just following Bitcoin. So you could see a nice setup on an altcoin chart, and it's not going to play out because Bitcoin does whatever it wants to do. So the best time to trade altcoins for me is when altcoins are hot and Bitcoin's literally doing nothing, but altcoins are, you know, starting to pump across the board, and the whole altcoin market as a whole is showing strength. That's when I start to trade altcoins. But I rarely hold them. The one I held the longest for during the bull one was UTK. So that was the one I like picked like one altcoin. Obviously, I held Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, but those are kind of majors to me. Now Litecoin's kind of been shit, but yeah, UTK was the only one I really held for very long. Uniswap was one of my bigger trades. I held that one for, I don't know, a month maybe, but yeah, I just don't hold them that long just because you see them go to zero so often. So anyway, let's see. When you draw support resistant lines and when using a box, how exactly do you draw the box? So how exactly do I draw the box? Again, I do have another video on this, but you can use wicks or candle bodies. So you could literally go for a support. You could go from this wick to this candle body and just say, you know what? I think this is support. Bam. And price goes in there. And if you're buying at support and not going all in heavy right at the top, you're probably okay. All right. I could use it. It's just there's so many different ways you can do it. You have to find a strategy that works for you. I just like to zoom out and see, okay, price hits this bottom a lot. So I like the base of this as a support, and I like the top of this candle for whatever reason as another support. Okay, so I like this as my support zone. It also coincides with the top of this candle and the bottom of this candle. For whatever reason, I like this. And you can see here, we broke down. We rejected on it, held on it, went back below it. Barely went below it, faked out. We're back above it now, and now you can see the candle bodies held there very well. This wick went right to the top of it, and now this wick is back in it. So, you got to find out what works for you, really. And it comes with experience too, you guys. It really does. But like up here, this is pretty clear to me for resistance. I want as many touches as I can get are ideal, because the more touches, the more likely it's actually a legitimate resistance, right? If I just go off this as a resistance, well, that's kind of worthless. Yeah, it worked out, but it's kind of worthless because it's literally got one touch. There's no history. So I would go here, and I would go all the way across here to the top of this wick. Okay. And I'm going to put it red. And then you can see here, we broke below it, retested, broke down. We broke back in it, retested the bottom. We rejected the top, retested the bottom, and then we rejected the top again, and then broke down, retested it, and continued lower. So I would say that resistance level played out rather well. As improved, start a new account on a different site where I'm making some money. All my Altcoin losses are contained in another website. I can't look at the other site. Maybe I'll wake up one day and it'll have reversed. Oh yeah. So, and I do have a fund management video too, you guys, that tells you how, to think about your portfolio and your assets as a whole and not diversify your risk too heavy into the high risk assets. Because, I just bought some random altcoin. Now I'm not trying to shill it. You don't have to buy it. Hold on, I gotta find it here. Okay. I don't care if you guys buy this, whatever, do your own research. But I just wanted to share, this is because this is what I bought and this is what I did. So I bought this Compete. It was like 2.5 million market cap. It's up. I bought at 0.002-ish, so it's up 3x. So maybe you don't want to FOMO, but I don't know. I'm trying to just tell you guys that I put $2,000 into this, okay? If I look one day and this thing is dropped down to zero, I don't even know if you guys can see this chart. Hold on. There we go. If I buy one day and this is dropped down to zero, all right, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to be broke. I didn't put $500,000 in here, okay? This is a high-risk asset. It's $2.5 million market cap when I bought it, okay? Now, it's got good fundamentals. I think it has some promise, and I'm basically just going to try to hold it long-term, but I'm doing that with $2,000. If I put 20, 30, 40, 50K in here, that would be more of a trade or more short-term, because I don't want to lose that 50. I don't want to give up that 50K. That's just above my risk management standards. All right, I'm not going to risk 50K and let this go to zero. So if I put 20, 30, 40, 50K in here, I would have taken some profit on the way. And then maybe I hold a moon bag, a long-term investment bag. But what too many people do is they buy an altcoin here, and it goes up a little bit, all right? And they go too heavy. And then it just slowly dwindles away into nothing, and they have no money to trade anywhere else. They've lost all their money, and they don't know what to do, and they can't participate in crypto anymore. There's always big opportunities in crypto if you don't get wrecked and you're patient. So diversify, know what your high risk assets are. Buying Bitcoin at 3K on a dip isn't as high risk, especially if you go heavy, whereas buying a random altcoin on the dip, because altcoins just seem to die off sometimes, right? There's plenty of altcoin charts, what's one, Dragon Chain or something? So Dragon Chain was huge back in the day. I mean, I had bad FOMO in this. I wanted to buy this so bad. Well, this is a terrible chart. I think it's off of everything that it was actually on back in the day. Let's see. Yeah, so this is one that everyone was like, oh, this is amazing, an amazing product. This is going to moon. And you draw this support level here. All right, and you're like, oh, this is amazing. I've got to go big here. This is the big support. This has good fundamentals. And people that went heavy here, it's just dead. You can't do that in these high-risk assets that are low market cap, because they just don't hold as well. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the king. If you're going to go all in on something, you want it to be the king. You want it to be the one asset that if crypto survives, what's the one asset that's going to survive? It's going to be Bitcoin, right? If all other crypto go to shit, the one that has the most chance of surviving would be Bitcoin, in my opinion, because it's the king, it's the true store of value, it's the internet gold, whatever. So, and it could happen. You mean Bitcoin's been surviving. Look, this has been, Bitcoin went into bull run and this thing died. So imagine deciding between Bitcoin or this random altcoin, right? And you're like, and it's gone down like this in USD too, but let's just say you go heavy here and you're like, oh, Bitcoin is at 3,000. This is at like 10 cents. I'm going to make more money if I go all in on this than if I go all in Bitcoin. Well, look at that. You lost all your money, right? So you got to be smart. High risk assets require smaller portions of your portfolio. Just like if you're investing in like a high risk company, if you make enough money and you're like, oh, I want to buy this restaurant, right? Well, you need to make sure it's a lower, like buy an Applebee's, buy a Chili. I don't know. I can't think of any right now, but buy an Applebee's, buy an established franchise. Don't buy some hole in the wall restaurant that's a mom and pop shop that nobody's ever heard of and doesn't have like a brand recognition and may not survive, right? Especially if it's like your whole net worth. So you need to know where your funds are going. You need to be really smart about investing in general. I mean, ETH is great. I think ETH there's potential. ETH was called the ETH killer, or there was things called the ETH killer. I think that we're proving that to be wrong. But what's the counter argument for ETH? Ethereum. The gas prices are ridiculous. Why do I use an Ethereum network when I can use BNB? Well, I don't like BNB network, but I could use BNB and the fees are dirt cheap, right? I can use Tron network and the fees are cheap to send crypto. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely arguments against using Ethereum network, but it seems like Ethereum is the network to build on. The volume on this chart, holy crap. That's hilarious. And OBV isn't even showing strength. Look at this. So there's a ton of buyer volume on this chart if you look at the green. But OBV is actually going down. If you see this with this high of buying volume, you expect OBV to be pushing up like this. And you expect this to be a bullish chart. And it's actually not bullish at all. OBV is going down with price, which is actually bearish. That is crazy to me, actually. I am very surprised. You would think this would be a bullish divergence. It's pretty cool. But yeah. So yeah, back in the bear. So if you're watching a Bitcoin chart to trade altcoins, that's kind of bearish. Like I remember doing that in the bear market in 2018. I would literally just be like, oh, Bitcoin's at resistance. I'm going to short this altcoin because I'm going to make more money. Or Bitcoin's at support. I'm going to buy this altcoin because I'll make more money on the altcoin. And it was with my spot account, right? And it was like basically like leveraging my spot account. So yeah, you guys, you just got to be smart with your money. You got to be smart with it. You can't go all into these shit coins, okay? Too many people. I remember somebody in February just going like really heavy in Uniswap at the top, and I was like, bro, you need to diversify. You need to like, you can't even manage all these. You need to condense them at least, and probably not put all your eggs in one basket, but hopefully that guy got out because that was bad. Okay, we've got a Bitcoin 1 day chart, and let's look at that. Okay, Bitcoin. Bitcoin 1 day chart. All right, let's go. There we are. So I think he used different candles, but I'm pretty sure, I think he had it like this, right? Oh, no, he used here. So you could use this point. You can use whatever point you want. This looks like, and he had it like this. All right, so we are nearing an apex, basically. I like more touches than 2 if I can. So like I would probably do something like this. Or maybe like, I actually think I saw somebody, give me this trend line. Okay. I think I saw somebody post this descending triangle. I do like this. Doesn't mean, this is just chop to me. So I don't even know. Like, it's technically a bearish pattern. So you would expect breakdown, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. But this is just chop to me. I wouldn't even draw a pattern on here. I think for the weekly, I had a symmetrical triangle here, which is a bearish pattern. And this is kind of even sloppy, honestly. I think I actually used the wick for this. I don't remember. So this is like kind of a symmetrical triangle, right? Well, it is, which is technically a bearish pattern. You drop into it, consolidate, and then drop lower. All right, that's what you'd expect, but when patterns go to the apex, they usually aren't a pattern. They usually break out sooner. So if it goes to the whole end of a triangle and it doesn't do anything, just get rid of it. Don't look at it, because that's just how you're going to get wrecked. Because most likely what's going to happen when that happens, if it goes to the apex, like something like this, what happens most times is it goes bloop, bloop, or bloop, bloop, right? It fakes out. So just be smart, you guys. Get rid of it. Like, if it's not working out, get rid of it. If it's going too much, too tight there, just throw it away. Find a new one. All right. What else we got? Let's see. Tubo rounding top. Are we going to drop? This is on Bitcoin 30-minute chart. Well, this was yesterday. What time did this post at? We'll definitely look at this. What you think, Goonski? I don't know, buddy. Let's see. Goonski. 3:55 p.m. yesterday, 30-minute chart. All right, let's see if it worked out, and we'll talk about it. What did I say? 3:55? I already forgot. Good old ADD. Okay. What is yesterday? The 14th at 3:55. So 15:55. All right. Okay. Here you go, buddy. Goonski says it's going to go up. Problem is, again, we're just chopped. But not only that, I actually posted. So that's not really a rounded top to me, because it's not at the top. It's just kind of we're going sideways. All right. But yeah, you got some rounding here. I guess that played out. But this, to me, was more bullish I had posted yesterday, because you've got this big support zone here. Okay. A quick deviation out. This is a deviation, and we get bought back up. This whole area just gets all these panic sellers. I just consider this panic selling, and we get bought back up, and now we're back above it. And I basically expected us to at least break out a little bit here, and we did, because people recognize that this is a support breakout. People FOMO'd, and we went right back into it as chop. I mean, I didn't buy. I'm like literally just not even entertained by the Bitcoin chart right now. I'm not even looking at it. But that's what this was. This was a downwards panic sell. So then where, you take liquidity from the bottom and people panic sell, and then you force them to buy back higher, and then you drop on them in these chop ranges. So these choppy ranges, don't look at your typical patterns, your typical rounded tops, bottoms, blah, blah, blah. Because if I just draw a line here and just short when it goes away from it on the top and long when it goes below it, I'm probably doing pretty well, right? And that's just too hard to do, because the one time you go try to do it is the time it takes off and you get wrecked. So I usually just stay away from these choppy ranges. This is kind of cool, but I think this is, let's see. Bitcoin, consistent new market cycle conditions. I don't know if this is a charting question or sharing with me, but yeah, so here we go. So when Bitcoin is oversold, you look to buy the bottom. So maybe that's something we should look out for. If RSI goes down lower and Bitcoin goes down lower, down to the bottom, maybe that will bring in a lot of buyers. 3 charts of interest. Well, I'm not just doing chart requests, so I don't have any trade things on there. Here's one. Let's see. What is this? AVTUR? Is that a crypto? So that is an ascending triangle. Let's see if it broke out. What time frame is this? 1 day. AVTUR. I've never heard of that. Nobody's ever heard of that. What? I don't even know what website this is. Okay. But that looked like a descending triangle, or an ascending triangle, the way he had it drawn. I don't know why it doesn't look like that on mine. But this is kind of what I see here. Although maybe it looks better on different time frames. Let's go to like a different time frame to see if we can see like a more clear. So this is how I thought it would look. Kind of like this, like an ascending triangle, and maybe it is. And we have a breakout, retest. We have nice lower wicks here. I don't even know what the market cap on this or anything. I don't even know. Beast? Anyway. So yeah, I mean, look at that. So that's a technically maybe not an ascending triangle, but it looks pretty close to one. And you've got these nice higher lows. And now you're holding, and this doesn't break my trendline rules. So technically, this is valid per my trendline rules. And we have a breakout, double retest, tweezer bottom. I mean, this should, whatever this is, should go up higher. Petrol, apparently. I want to do a little bit of trading, but everything looks bearish. Do I have any suggestions? Well, I wouldn't trade this price action right now anyway. That's my advice. That's my suggestion. That's why I've been trading stocks, because stocks have actually been showing volatility and not just sideways chop, but now they're starting to get into that. And luckily, my entries are from much higher. But, you know, Bitcoin chart's literally going sideways. We had Apple chart, which I shorted because it's moving, right? Like, this has been going up, and now it's going down. There's not much sideways on here. Whereas Bitcoin chart is just literally straight sideways. I can't trade that. All right, let's see if I got any more questions. Otherwise, we're going to get out of here. Got stopped out. Oh, I like this one. Thank you. A real question. I got stopped out on the second candle at 232. Short entered after the third touch, and I started retracing. My entry was 218. What is this? MIR. 4-hour chart. All right, 4-hour chart. Oh, wrong mer. 4-hour chart. Okay. So this is where I love to short you guys. Let's see. So we actually have bearish divergence here on this. You see here. Bearish divergence. Okay, so price goes up. Double top on OBV. That's where I would love to short. Now I get why he put his stop loss there on this. Look at this volume. This is also bearish. See how price is going up this whole way and volume is dropping. So he literally, sometimes this little candle here breaks up out and then goes lower, and then you really get stop hunted. So whenever I enter something like this, I typically give myself a little bit wider stop loss, okay, like above here or maybe even a little bit more. But that was a good short entry. It was a good idea. Just, you know, we don't always execute them properly. What you could have done is given yourself a wider stop loss or given yourself a chance to add, or waited for, that's a pretty good trade. I think that even just putting your stop loss above here would have been good. His entry was entered short after third touch of 230 and was touched and started retracing. My entry was 218. So he entered here. I think you just used too high a leverage. I feel like you either used too high a leverage or too high a stop loss. I mean, if you got 218, that's a damn good entry. And you got stopped at 232? No way. Oh, well, maybe not at 232, but up there. For me, I would need a close to close this trade. I would need a candle close probably above this wick here. So I would need to see this candle close above here, and then the next candle start to close above there too. Otherwise, I would assume that this is going to be a fake out, and you could see this is where. So I would have entered a short. For me personally, if I was trading this, I would have entered a short on this retest here, because what I see is this is a resistance. Okay, we rejected it twice, so that's not a bad short entry. Sometimes the second short entry is the gift or the better chance, right? So you see we've gone above it now. That's kind of the fake out FOMO candle. We immediately went back below. We've retested it now and start to drop, so that's where I would be able to enter a short here. Stop loss. Now my stop loss would be tight because I don't want to see price go back above there. And then basically you would just find your target, which whatever it would be. So then you've got a 6% risk to 28% reward there on this, if this trade setup pays out or whatever. And that's actually a really good risk to reward there. So I think you did a great job on this entry. Just know that a lot of times you get these extra pushes. Maybe the 30-minute chart, was showing some bullish divergence or something on OBV and just needed a little bit more push. So sometimes I go into lower time frames on that. And really, if you look here, you guys, this is the top, right? This is probably where you got stopped out. And for me, this is why I wouldn't have been able to hold a short yet, because you don't have a top signal yet. You've got a strong breakout here. No close below, really. Okay? Another strong breakout. We don't have any bearish engulfing candles, nothing. We have nothing to signal a potential top until here. This is a bearish engulfing candle. See that? That's a bearish engulfing candle up at resistance. We don't have any bearish engulfing candles anywhere else. All right. So it's a bearish engulfing candle at resistance. That becomes the top. I don't want to see us go above that. And you can see how well that worked out now. So if you just, these are good low time frame scalps, short opportunities maybe, or maybe you buy there and get a good entry, or you short there and get a good entry, but you have to expect some top to form. And that's where I get caught in trading a lot of times is I get in just a little bit early. I get one more high or one more stop hunt, and then that becomes the top, and it actually gives me a topping pattern, whereas here I have no topping pattern. I got nothing to tell me this is for sure the top. Now this tells me this is for sure the top. So I hope that helps explain that. Great trade idea. Just a little off on the execution, but, you know, it happens to all of us. AVAX. Let's see. Honestly, I don't know. I can't really see what I'm looking at, but I assume he shorted here and looked here, and it popped straight through that. So that's what I assume. You know, you wait for a rejection, like I said, and if you don't get the rejection, you don't take the trade. If someone wants to learn TA, then yeah, go check out my YouTube. Can't wait for all the moon boys. Okay, I don't know anything about these bullish bat wing thingies or whatever they are, so I can't comment on that. 3200 we go. Yeah, I agree with this analysis. You could see here this 4500 is a breakdown here. I would say it's the top of this wick. So let me zoom in here. So basically her analysis is saying, what's happening? Okay, well, if you can see this, basically her analysis is saying the top of this wick needs to be breached for us to go bullish, and I agree. Otherwise, we likely go to 32K, 33K area, which is also a big support zone that I have. So I definitely can't disagree with that analysis. Looks like a solid analysis. Very simple, nothing too fancy. Bitcoin dominance looks like another market dump. He says, I don't know how to interpret these indicators. Oh, this is just RSI. Well, RSI is pushing up and showing strength, so Bitcoin dominance looks like it's about to go up to me. Oh, that's what he's saying. Sorry. So, yeah, he's showing strength in Bitcoin dominance and altcoins are looking weak. Yeah, I agree. That's a good analysis. I would definitely agree with that, especially if that trend line breaks out, unless it's a fake out, right? But, no, I think that Bitcoin dominance kind of looks like it could break out too. So, and that's just a fractal. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me. That was a long stream. I talked a lot. I hope I answered your questions. I was hoping I would have more charts like I just went over because those are really fun. So maybe in the future I can get some more of those because I get a lot of those questions in DMs, but not as many in the comments when I ask for them. So anyway, thanks everyone for joining. I do have to go. I have another meeting soon, but I appreciate you all. If you aren't subscribed to my YouTube yet, please subscribe. I don't think you can comment on these streams without being subscribed. So I'm getting up there. I'm over 20,000 subscribers, so that's really cool. But hope you guys enjoy this content, and I will catch you guys next time. And I actually have another live stream on Thursday at 9:30 Central Time or 10:30 Eastern Time. So don't want to miss that one either. We're going to talk about head and shoulder patterns and how I trade head and shoulder patterns and what I've learned is the most effective way to trade them. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'll catch you next time. Peace. The most effective way to trade them. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'll catch you next time. Peace.